Hi Scorpio, welcome to your Capricorn season reading. The information is flowing again, and it's flowing really quickly. During Capricorn season from December 21st to January 19th, you are super connected. The Six of Cups. It's the activation of your dual mind, which helps you deal with the shadow of yourself and others in a way that makes sure you get the information that you need from your connections within your connections, the information that you need to grow, to win through your connections, through your communication. But the shadows are persistent. The shadows are important to keep under wraps. We immediately have a new moon in Capricorn on December 30th. New moon. And before then, it can be easy to let the heaviness of the information that's coming through distract you. Right? The information is moving really quickly, it's very sharp, and people's desire to be in power and to be heard at the sake of your needs is very high. The moon. And so you can feel one of two ways. You can feel like you completely surrender because the information is more important than expressing your feelings. Or you can lean in too hard with the thoughts about what's being said and what's being done. This could be in a relational setting, it could be in a professional setting. Either way, this new moon happening on the 30th of December is the chance to merge those two energies and balance them out even. It's the ability to keep the mind sharp while your heart is still in it, your heart is still connected, because you know that it's not personal, there's a job to be done, and also, whether you like it or not, you're gaining information, a lot of information. And actually, it's more so through the negative moments, yeah? Those very shadowy moments that you gain the most information, the most and the most valuable information that can change your life, that can change your reality. Remember that when you feel like your home is threatened. Remember that the information that you gained in moments that feel most uncomfortable. It's the point of this whole gig. It's the whole point. And it's like, it's funny because being such an emotional sign, you can get so wrapped up in the feeling of it all to the point where You start to believe your feelings as the only part of the whole story, of, you know, the main aspect of your experience. And so now that this Capricorn energy comes in and you start to realize that you can pair that emotion with information that is constantly flowing in, it makes you value conversations more. It brings out a different version of you in conversations to make sure that you're in a position of not power, but connectedness. Right now is not necessarily about being in power, and I know for you it's always about being in power, right? But it's more important now to be connected. It's more important to learn. There's some things that you're learning on the ground level that if you push too hard to be the one, you'll miss the information. You'll miss the moment of gain. And so again, this new moon in Capricorn on December 30th is so helpful because it brings out a new objective, which is the opportunity to learn. And through the learning, you get to flex your mental muscle, but also you get to shift direction, shift approach, shift your energy, work differently because you've learned some things about the work, about the love, about yourself, about the world. And it's healing. It helps you create a lot of distance so this shadow doesn't fill up your whole life. It's just a moment of information that needed to be gathered. Yeah. Lots of information. On January 2nd, Venus will move into Pisces, and you are seeing all of this energy around you from people who don't know what to say, don't know how to feel. And instead of letting this energy distract you, very distracting energy, you want to swallow all of this junk, impulsive, shadowy energy with feeling that gets you where you want to be. The Eight of Wands. You want to use this Venus and Pisces energy, Venus in your 5th house, to take up a very authentic spotlight in your work setting. All of the feeling gets magnetized to you. All of a sudden, everybody needs to get their feelings off their chest, and you become the perfect, bucket for them to pour into. They're ready to talk about what's happening behind the scenes that they would never say, but all of a sudden this Pisces energy gets to be too much. It's so much feeling. If you don't say how you're feeling, if you don't express your emotions, you get sick energetically, physically. You get exhausted. So everyone's feeling this buildup of emotion and worry and anger, and they're not used to dealing with this level of discomfort emotionally. And you find such comfort in it. You even find it to be fun, in a sense. It's the discomforting feelings are actually, it creates a sense of home for you, but it's okay for you to express your feelings as intensely as you feel them. And Venus in Pisces starting on January 2nd is that green light to express, but also it brings your work together in a way, it exhausts the world around you and becomes an opportune moment for you to build up exactly the way that you would desire, especially in a material sense. It's the time to say, this is what I want in terms of finances. These are the resources that I need. This is what I have done. It's a, as I said, very authentic spotlight. Here we are, that Leo card, and you just want to make sure that this isn't just about you getting attention, right? Don't run towards the attention, but feel this natural spotlight build up for you that's asking you to shine a light on what you've done, what you're doing, because it's time. You're ready, the world is ready. But there's this sense of flair that you need to channel within this, right? Wait. Don't do it before the 2nd. Don't go too big before the 2nd. Wait until January 2nd. I know that you're feeling this energy. I know that the world around you is playing games with you. They're testing your ego. They're testing your gangster. They don't know who they're messing with, right? And when you're weak, when you're in a soft space, when you're in a vulnerable space, when you decide to put other people's feelings before yours, people get it very, very twisted, because they think that that's always how you're gonna be. They think that you're not as ambitious as you are. They think you're not as strategic as you are, but really you're watching their every move, you're clocking their every move, and you're plotting your every move. So I know up until the 2nd, it feels like these people are really trying me, and it gets even more intense. They really, really try you. Don't react to it, and don't be aggressive. Wait until everything that they thought they were doing crumbles, because the foundation that you always have gets very solid starting on January 2nd. It gets so solid that when their foundations that they tried to build on top of your foundations without asking you if it's okay, and they thought they would get away with it. Venus in Pisces is showing and revealing everything. Nothing stays hidden with Venus in Pisces. Everyone's got to deal with their own karmic decisions. When Venus moves into Pisces and the foundations that were not built on good intentions, they will crumble. And the foundations that you have laid with extremely good intentions, that you have labored for, will shine so bright, because the soul of it is what, as much as people will try to soak it up and try to take it, it will never thrive the way that they think it will, because the soul of them and the soul of people can feel that something is not right. This feels off. But when the soul is truly in alignment with something, the love is felt within, and the love is attracted externally because it is just right. It's real love. It's something that feels naturally deserved, and that gratitude and that joy of doing something the right way shines so bright without needing a sense of praise. It's just true inner joy. When it shines, the energy naturally flocks to it, it attracts to it without a large attempt, a large plea and cry for attention. And then the foundations that people tried to build on top of your back without asking you if it was okay will crumble. And it will feel fair. It'll feel fair. Because you see, the work that you do behind the scenes, right? The things that you labor for behind the scenes, because you're not external, you're impactful, like a stealth spy. And so because you have to work, and you work in that stealthy way, it makes people think that you don't have external power. I don't think I have to explain, but it just puts people in danger. They put themselves in danger. Never test and play with the spy. They're always watching, and they always know. They see your intentions before you even get the chance to fully act on what you've done. So if you're feeling that very intensely from the people around you, from your coworkers, from your lover, from your friends, or whatever, don't react to it. Don't rush anything. Don't try to fight it. You don't even have to. I know it feels like, if I don't do something about it, nobody's gonna. Wait. Do not rush it. Do not try to wield this solution into existence. Wait for it to come back to you. What you want will come to you when Venus enters Pisces on January 2nd. Until then, wait. Lay low. Do the job. Make sure it's clear. Make sure it's right. And wait. It's better to keep these connections in healthy tact than to destruct them because people were trying you. Okay? In terms of love, it's okay to have fun, but continue to remember that you're only at the beginning. It can feel really intense right now, especially as all this information starts to flood in about the life that you could be living, right? It's very easy to jump from where you are today to trying to rush and run down the life that you should be living. Don't do that. Feel this information come in as wish fulfillment, because it's not that you couldn't see these opportunities before. You could see them, but you didn't feel capable to make them happen. You didn't feel the ability to really make them a real part of your life, whether that's traveling, whether it's a certain type of eating, whether it's a certain type of routine, lifestyle with your partner, a home life, whatever it was that you wanted before, and you could see it, but it was like there was just literally nothing to build on. It felt like no ground to build on. Every time you tried to build on it, it was like, oh, another hurdle. This is not, nothing's really moving. Now that the sun is in Capricorn and this information is flowing in and Venus enters Pisces, things start moving, and they start moving really quickly. There's a really big gap that was there that's been sealed up pretty tight. The Three of Pentacles. You have a team atmosphere between you and your partner where you guys can make your desires come to fruition, your individual desires, your personal desires, your entrepreneurial desires, your dreams, your family desires. It's all there. It's all there, and it's all very electric. It's exciting, but there's no need to rush it. Just feel the strength and the confidence build, because the foundation and the seeds that you were planting that you thought weren't going to amount to anything, or they didn't feel like they were amounting to anything, they all of a sudden become very clear and something very delicate. It's the best when your value, the value of someone, the value of a connection within your life becomes super clear to you, to the point where you want to hold on to it. That's what you're looking for. Don't be afraid of that feeling. I know it's scary, but don't be afraid. You need to see the power in your partner, in your connection, in order for you to know that it's okay to continue to pour that amount of emotional energy into someone. They need to continuously remind you that they don't take that for granted. They know that you do an immense amount of emotional work, and so you need them to consistently do the physical work. And it's great to be in that space. And if you're not in that space, this is the opportunity to shift your mind very quickly and get into that space, because this person also needs you to be aware of your value. And you're having these moments where you're jumping out because, again, you're going through this recalibration of the mind, and so you're jumping in and out of this clarity about your worth and about how you need to be thinking, how you need to be communicating consistently to make sure that you feel your value, as well as the world around you feels that you're going in and out of that space. And that's okay. But the job is to understand that this is a very delicate relationship, a delicate relational opportunity, that this person expects you to be on your game. They expect you to know your worth, your authority, and they expect you to completely leave behind any weak energies. They want the best version of you. They're not looking for a version of you that isn't strong. It may feel like that because maybe you played into a version of you that wasn't strong, and somehow that created a dynamic between you that you thought was working, but that was never working. It was never actually working. It was just, they could see your potential and you could see theirs, but this partner, this relationship is looking for this harsher version of you. Because if you're masking the real you, they can tell, and they can't connect to the love as intensely as you want them to. You have to do the work continuously to ensure you're being your complete self and you are aware of your value consistently without being an asshole. It's a really intricate and complicated journey, because it's like, okay, you want me to be this prideful version of myself, just prideful enough to the point where I'm sexy, but not too prideful to the point where I push people away because I was a little too mean. Like, what is that? Fine tune it. Practice. Fine tune it. Get to this state over and over and over, and it will solidify for you. This Pisces energy gives you permission to do some testing of this confident version of you. It gives you permission, gives you a little space to do it. On top of that, Sora, come here. Thank you. On top of that, you've got a really fruitful beginning of the year. Mars is currently retrograde in Leo in your 10th house. On January 6th, it will retrograde back into Cancer, into your 9th house. And this is another chance for you to take some risks and for you to reinvent. The 10 of Wands and the Ace of Wands, you get to take another look. It's really hard to have a innovative mindset when there's so much responsibility on your plate, and that's really what you've been experiencing with Mars and Leo. It's been fulfilling, right? The strength and the recognition of your authority and the respect, right? Like that's been fulfilling. But Mars retrograde back into Cancer is a chance for you to look back over this opportunity and say, okay, I know what it's like being in this position. It feels good, it feels nice, but there's also some things about this that if I had the opportunity to say things as they really are, I could really reinvent this whole situation. Because right now, even if we did have to sustain this long term, I don't think that this is the healthiest dynamic for me, for everyone involved. This situation needs to change. If we're going to do this for the long term, we can't just work off of inspiration. This really has to feel like an opportunity to everyone involved. And I'm getting so many signs that, hey, I love you, but this is not feeling like the opportunity for me. Mars in Cancer is a great opportunity to reinvent this job, reinvent this passion, this creative vision that you have, reinvent it. Have these honest conversations with yourself. You look like an opportunity to everyone around you. You have the chance to put yourself in the conversations, in the positions needed to get the buy-in. Because yes, the build will happen no matter what, but I don't think everyone will stay for the journey if you don't close these gaps. There's also some risks that you need to take, that you've been very, you've been risk averse because you understand some things that, show you that the risk isn't worth it. But when you get to a certain level of success, you start to become fearful of ruffling any feathers, but that's the exact moment where you need to start ruffling feathers, because if you stay stagnant, if you get comfortable, someone else will come in and they'll ruffle feathers the way that you should have done it when you got the nudges the first time, the second time, the third time. Someone else will come in and ruffle those feathers and get to exactly where you wanted to get to. So don't get comfortable. Don't think that you have some form of success that needs to be protected, and so you can't say things as they really are. That's the moment to actually say things as they really are. It's okay. It's okay. Oh, be careful. Oh, please stop. Stop. Right? This is the moment. If you can't have an honest conversation, you can't criticize the situation. It might stay in form for a while and seem like it's okay, but that's of no value to anyone involved. So let this retrograde back into Cancer give you this bold 9th house confidence to remember that if you weren't here tomorrow, would you regret saying that thing? Or would you regret not saying that thing? You likely would, so say it. This reservation of energy is not necessary. You have permission. You're holding back because you think it's protecting you, but it's actually only making you look fearful, or as if you're not aware of your worth, or what actions get you to your worth. Okay. So this to me is, I love my job, but I feel like a worker bee and I hate this feeling. Say it. Mercury enters Capricorn on January 8th. Say it. It is time. You're not going to push people away. They're going to understand, especially when Mercury enters Capricorn. They're going to understand, and they're going to realize that either whatever way you were working needs to change. Sometimes that just happens. The way that you're working needs to change, and that's why you're not happy. They'll tell you what you need to do. They'll give you the information. You'll find the information. You'll stumble across the information, or you'll realize that you may not want this in the way that you thought you did. Maybe this was an opportunity for you to learn so that you can recreate this for yourself, or you can recreate it in a different environment that feels more empowering for you. You're not losing anything by moving on. Sometimes you grow out of your environment. You know, you can stay in an environment for comfort. But I think it's the fear of the change. I think it's the fear of making new connections, but I'm not sure that the connections you think you have are as strong and as healthy as you really want them to be, right? Like, starting over and making new connections might feel like, oh man, but I've just gotten so comfortable with these connections. But I don't think so. I really don't. I think that you've just learned the laws of the land, and so it makes you think that there's some form of comfort here, when really you just know that you know who's nice and you know who's mean, and you know when people are nice and you know when they're mean, and it just makes you feel like, oh, these are my people, oh, this is, but it's like, no, these are not your people. This was an experience where you were taught how to navigate shadiness. I don't think that that's healthy, and I don't think that that's what you want. It's just information. Mercury in Capricorn is, I'm giving you what you need to get to a higher place in life. Now, what is that higher place? What is that next position? What is that next place? Can you get to that here, or do you need to go somewhere else? Because no matter what, it's time to go to a higher place. Or are you holding on to this dynamic because it's been interesting? I know it feels like a risk. The full moon in Cancer on January 13th, it feels like a risk to have an experience that's so much more wealthy. It's so much more wealthy, but it is time. It's time to put your comfort and your desire for a really respectable experience first, and it's time to call the respectful experience towards you by saying, I don't want this anymore. It's very sharp. It's very, you've taken too much of my energy, too much of my resources, too much of my flair, my style. That's enough. That's enough. I think you'll be satisfied by the risks that you want to start to take under the full moon in Cancer on the 13th. I think you'll see how this experience was just to show you the distance from the wealthy experience that you desire. It was only to tell a story and to paint a picture. And again, you can stay in this dynamic because it's, you know, people. Or you can go fight a new battle. One that's really about beauty and feels good, looks good. That feels like the direction. The sun enters Aquarius on January 19th, and you feel so soft. You only want safety. And you're calling it towards you. Again, whether that's within an existing environment or a new environment, your feelings are all over the place, and you need to make sure that you feel safe enough to feel everything that is unexplainable. So you need to make sure that whatever you're committed to is something that you can really depend on to sustain you. Something that doesn't make you feel bad about being as impactful as you are. Something that gives you space to work through what's been so terrible. You need some time to sit with it so that you can get back to having real desires again. Real fun. You need some space from all of this energy pulling on you, and you need to heal. You need time alone to put all the pieces together of what you've just learned, but in an emotional way. We'll talk more about it in Aquarius season. In the meantime, Scorpio, you can schedule private and birth chart readings with me through the link in the description. The Capricorn season playlist Height is out now on Apple Music, and the link is in the description. I love you. I'll see you in Aquarius season. Bye.